Okay, we got this. We totally got this.
Okay.
Woo! Hello, welcome back. This is Awesome Hardware, a tech news show that Paul and I do every single Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. We like to start our show off with a whimpering dog in the background.
He's just guarding. He's guarding the house.
Which
it's a warning whimper.
Warns you that there will be adult language potentially in our stream. That's what the dog whimper. It's functional.
Warn them about the adult language.
It's everything on the show that happens is intentional.
Boy.
And so be warned of that. We also like to have a few drinks on the show.
We do.
Oh, hello there. That was a little bit. No, we're fine.
Okay.
False alarm. It definitely sounded like it was gonna be bad.
It's always a
that it ended up being perfectly fine. So, cheers to all of you drinking out there and joining us. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh yes. Don't be alarmed. This is you're supposed to do a hard pour with these nitros.
It's super hard.
It's very jarring at first, but
it's making me hard. That your hard pour.
It works out.
That's what that's doing.
All right, so
Alright, cool. It looks like
we already gave that
looks like everything's functional, so
cool.
That's good.
Looks like we're online and stuff. Everything sounds and looks good, other than our faces. So cool. All right. Well, we also have stores that we like to push onto you guys and force you to buy things. We both sell really good things. All the products on here are top-notch quality.
It's all very suggestive.
I would say that it's very suggestive. The margins, we don't make huge margins on these products. They're fairly good. What I'm saying is they're fairly good prices for what they are.
Yeah.
So feel free to check it out
for your money.
Buy something.
Where should they go, Kyle? If
they should go to my store, which is bitwit.tech.
That's good.
Bitwit.tech, and Paul's is paulshardware.net.
paulshardware.net.
Both very easy URLs to remember. And if you happen to pick up anything from either of our stores, we will yell Johnson at you in a very sexual way. That will most likely offend someone.
We are restocking the RGB everything shirts. We've had some requests for that.
Yep.
If you buy Awesome Hardware merch from either of our stores, we share the profits between us.
We do.
And we have like this party where we put all the money together and we like dance around.
That part's not true.
But
I never agreed to that.
What's next, Kyle?
We're not doing that. So I think we can just dive right into some tech news.
We should do that.
Yeah. My half is going to start with news. So let's start with this article from WCCF Tech. Shut up, phone. Sorry.
Phone's going crazy.
I have to be kind of on call for some stuff. All right, now it's fine.
WCCF Tech.
So, AMD Zen 2 samples have emerged. Well, I shouldn't say they've emerged. This is a big fat rumor.
Big rumor. It is.
Big fat rumor.
It is prefaced
that you should take
capital letters.
with a grain of salt, like all rumors. And it's WCCF Tech. So who knows? It's extra rumory because of that.
Usually, they're filthy lies. Everything.
Filthy lies. These guys are all terrible. No, they're great. They do great work over there at WCCF Tech, and we appreciate their articles. So this one talks about someone, I think a forum member from HardOCP, who was basically known for having juicy rumors and leaks in the industry. So it doesn't give him any more credibility. It just means that he's leaked a bunch of stuff in the past.
It kind of does give him more credibility that you say he's been known to have that implies credibility.
I don't know, though. It didn't necessarily specify that his leaks and info was legit or that it was accurate, but rather that he seems to be a source of leaks in general.
As long as we're being clear that
it's absolutely 100% true.
That this is a forum post. Forum posting that it's talking about here.
This is a forum post.
Okay.
It's just some dude on the internet. So apparently there's AMD Zen 2 samples that have already been handed over to the RTG, Radeon Technology Group. They've already received a sample. Why so early? Well, apparently there may be a change with the interconnect between the CPU, the Zen 2 CPU, and AMD graphics cards. So RTG needs the sample early so that they can sort of rework and optimize their video drivers to play nicely with the CPU.
You can crossfire your Zen 2 CPU with an AMD Radeon Vega 7nm graphics card, Kyle? Is that what you're saying right now?
Yes. You need an AV Link bridge.
They need to come up with an advanced name for crossfire then. AV Link?
AV Link. I like AV Link.
An AV Link.
AV Link, that makes total sense.
AV Fire?
AV Fire. There you go.
Hey.
So, I don't know. There's some other speculation here that this is going to be third gen Ryzen mainstream chip that we're seeing here on the Zen 2 architecture with the 7 nanometer node. So we've come from first gen Ryzen, which was 14 nanometer, and then Zen Plus was a slight shrink to 12 nanometer, and then we have 7 nanometer with this third generation. It's going to be an 8-core, 16-thread part. I was kind of a little disappointed that we weren't seeing like a higher core count. I know we're kind of getting greedy now that there's this core war between AMD and Intel, and every generation just seems to step up.
Well, it will kind of feel like AMD has let Intel catch back up now that Intel is, supposedly going to be launching an 8-core 9900K soon.
Yeah, I know.
So
and
what's the deal, AMD?
Intel always had the higher IPC instructions per clock, but at least AMD always had that core leverage, thread leverage over Intel until now. Now it's kind of an even playing field, or even more slanted to Intel's favor because they have the higher IPC still, but also the same number of cores and threads potentially as AMD. I think pricing could definitely affect that though. So anyway, 8-core, 16 threads. We are looking at some higher turbos. See, the yours did a weird thing too.
Yeah,
4 gigahertz base, 4.5 gigahertz boost. We don't know what motherboard the CPU was tested on. Apparently, it was tested. It was on a bench and stuff. So it could be a new platform. Could be a completely new chipset and socket, or I would think it's the same socket, but maybe a different chipset, because AMD has mentioned many times in the past. I think you got it all. Can some really awesome dedicated fan scrub through every single awesome hardware that we've ever done and just make a compilation of Paul emptying out the last couple drops of beer?
Drips at what?
I guarantee you, it'll be like 10 minutes long. Because I've seen you before, like watching the streams back. You'll sit there for like a good 10, 15 seconds, make sure that you're very thorough.
I'm sitting here listening to you talk about some stupid thing. What better time?
What about a potentially new flagship CPU from one of the largest CPU manufacturers?
You're right.
in the
No,
world?
I'm excited about this.
Even though there's only one of two.
So I would expect, hopefully, maybe it would run at a higher frequency than the Zen and Zen Plus
like it.
stuff that we have.
Turbos to 4.5.
Turbos to 4.5.
Which makes me think that you'd be able to overclock on all cores to maybe 4.7, 4.8 if you're lucky. That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, if you know anything about overclocking, you'd be able to do that.
What the hell you're doing. Why
does the chat keep disappearing? It's odd.
It's weird.
Yeah. Anyway,
it's dark mode. So I don't know. I think we're still going to be able to see some backwards compatibility. AMD's been really good with that. That was how they designed AM4, and that's always been their plan with AM4, was to make it future-proof so that people with older generation CPUs could slot them into newer boards and vice versa. They were really good about that with Ryzen 2, I would imagine, or I should say second gen Ryzen. I would imagine they're going to be similarly attacking the third gen mainstream Ryzen chips in the same way. So let's see, what else can we get here from this huge rumor? The forum member said that the CPU proves to be great in performance compared to an 8700K. But that's a very vague statement. We don't know exactly how it's being compared, if that's like single core or multi-threaded performance in what games. Is that even a game? Is that a synthetic test? Like it's very vague.
Could be anything.
And it's at the end of the day, it could be all fake too. So we don't really have much to go on here. Rumors are also suggesting a 10 to 15% bump in IPC over the current 12 nanometer Zen Plus architecture. Zen Plus was about a 3% performance boost over first generation Zen, just Zen non-plus. And so now we're going to potentially see 10 to 15% over that, which makes sense because this is a whole architecture change, not just a refinement. And that's actually pretty good. 10 to 15% would get it definitely a bit closer to Intel and make it more competitive in that department. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if all these rumors end up being true. And we'll keep a close eye on this.
And they would potentially have a lithography advantage too if they can actually ship 7 nanometer processors.
True.
in bulk.
Mm-hmm.
Since Intel still can't really even ship their 10 nanometer stuff.
Right.
Well, that's good to hear. Hopefully the rumor is true.
I'm excited. I like Ryzen. I want AMD to continue doing good stuff. I don't want it to go back. Like now that they've made a comeback to some degree, it's like, ooh, now they have more to lose. And now I'm like, I get slightly nervous that Intel's just going to eventually pass them up again, and we're going to be back to square one. I don't think we will go back to square one like before the Ryzen days, like pre-Ryzen era, but Intel's got a lot of money. They got a lot of cash flow. They got a lot of resources, and AMD has the burden of attacking both the CPU and the GPU market, getting hit sort of on both sides by Intel and Nvidia. So they're spread pretty thin, but I'm hoping for the best. I always root for the underdog, usually, unless I'm like betting money on the winning dog. Then I bet. Then I hope the overdog wins. But I'm not betting on either of them. I own stocks in both of them.
I usually bet on the overcat.
The lateral move. Yes. Never a bad choice. The internet agrees. All right, so next up we've got an article here from Variety. I never go to Variety. I only went... I just picked this article because it was between this and Polygon. I just felt...
Sometimes you gotta...
Maybe this, Polygon, and Kotaku, and I just felt Variety was the most...
You gotta mix things up.
Get some
variety in your life.
God damn it, Paul! If I could flip this table over, I would.
It's bolted.
I know. You anticipated my moves properly. So this is about fantasy author and Andrzej Sapkowski.
Andrzej Sapkowski.
He's from Poland. That explains that. He's the author of the Witcher fantasy.
Sapkowski.
Andrzej Sapkowski. So this guy is like the mind behind the fantasy narrative of the Witcher franchise.
That's him right
there. Pretty
there.
cool. That is Seth Meyers. He's a late night talk show host. Focus, Paul. Do not pay attention to the ads. So this guy, when The Witcher was first being the first Witcher game, CD Projekt Red, which is the developer, went up to Andre and said, "We love your work, bro. We'd love to give you some royalties, pay you out royalties based on the profits that we make off this game. If we can own the copyright, all the copyright stuff to your work."
I love royalties.
And this author said no, and I quote, he said, "They offered me a percentage of their products. I said no, there will be no profit at all. Give me all my money right now, the whole amount. It was stupid. I was stupid enough to leave everything in their hands because I did not believe in their success. But who could foresee their success? I couldn't." So that was a direct quote from the author, basically admitting, at least he admits it, I was dumb to think, to not believe in their success, and to not think that this was going to be the massive success that it was. And he's right. How could you predict that? It's kind of hard to project.
Never know when a game's going to take off.
And what's that?
You never know when a game's going to take off.
You never know. But now he's a little salty. Actually, he's very salty to the point where he's seeing all the cash flow, all the money that the developers are raking in from a game that was based, a game franchise, this whole franchise that was based off of his fantasy lore. So he's hired a team of lawyers, I suppose, and they might take this to court. They're demanding 6% of the franchise's profits. Do you know what 6% of the franchise's profits is for the Witcher franchise?
It's substantial.
It's about $16 million.
Oh, it's in the headline.
Or 60 million Polish zlotskis. I don't know. It's not the right currency at all for Polish. But
I've learned that in Europe, it's usually either the euro or whatever the native language word for crown.
Krona?
Yeah, Corona or Corona.
Corona. 16 million Coronas.
Corona.
With lime.
Yeah.
No, it starts with a Z. It's like a zlot, whatever. I'm not going to try pronouncing it. So anyway, that's a lot of money. 16 million. I didn't really get... I think I read... It's not in this article. In a different article I read to cross-verify some stuff, I think I read that the amount he got paid, that he agreed to, his one lump sum, was less than 10 grand.
Oh, damn.
He got paid less than, like, $9,500.
This would be quite an upgrade from that.
Quite an upgrade, yep. The benchmark graph on that would be substantial.
So if I know how lawyers work, they're probably aiming high, and then they're hoping to
land somewhere in the middle.
Arbitrate this to get him something in between $10,000 and $60 million.
Which even so, halfway between that midway point wouldn't be bad. So, I don't know. I feel like this is a very polarizing thing. Some people are going to side with the developers. Some people are going to side with the author. I guess the grounds that the author's lawyers were saying is that apparently the contract was only written for the first Witcher game. And it did not include all the following titles and all the DLC that came afterwards. So this author is entitled to the royalties on all those. So, but you know, who's to say? We don't have we don't have all the contracts and the fine print in front of us, so we can't really say. But it is quite a stirrup, to say the least.
Stirrup.
So I think this is the moral of the story here: is believe in your devs.
Get back in the saddle.
If you're gonna never underestimate the power of viralness.
Wear your chaps.
Wear your That's because
Rawhide.
Because they don't. He doesn't wear chaps in The Witcher. Because I think in the first scene, the cinematic scene, you see Geralt's ass.
I was just riffing and you said stirrups like randomly for no reason.
So oh yeah, sorry. And I'm just thinking about a video game character's ass for some reason. All right. Anyway,
hard not to.
Let's move on before we dive in.
Good idea.
Ass a little more.
What's next?
Next we have another article from WCCF Tech. This is about Amazon raising their minimum wage to $15 an hour.
What a funny picture of
for
Jeff
U.S.
there.
employees. I feel like all pictures of Jeff Bezos are funny.
It's like he's shocked but slightly intrigued. It's like somebody.
Ooh. Oh.
It's like there's.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, that's probably the thought.
What's his, like? Imagine what he's looking at that made him make that face.
My penis.
I don't know. It's like, oh my god, it's enormous.
Someone memed that image immediately.
Okay.
So this goes into effect November 1st. $15 an hour for all U.S. employees that work at Amazon. This will affect all 250,000 full-time and part-time employees, as well as seasoned employees, which is about 100,000. They have about 100,000 seasonal employees every year. So that's 350,000 people who will be making at least $15 an hour. That's pretty substantial. We'll have to wait for the Q4 reports to see how this is going to actually impact Amazon as a business with their stocks and all that sort of thing, how it's going to impact investors. Because that's crazy. Essentially, these people are going to be doing the same amount of work, creating the same amount of output, but they're going to be making... Some employees will be making substantially more than they ever have been. So it'll be interesting to see how that impacts Amazon as a company and their investors, and how Amazon would plan to sort of counteract that effect. Right? Are they going to charge more for shipping to non-Prime customers? Or are they going to have to raise the rates on some of their products? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see for the Q4 reports. But it is quite interesting.
I imagine Jeff is probably going to have to put off some of his cybernetic upgrades.
Yes, as an as an augmented human being. That's potentially true. What is like an Amazon Fire Stick come out of his finger or something like Inspector Gadget?
That's classified.
What if he only starts speaking in Alexa voice? Like Alexa does all the talking for him. Like he just replaces his vocal cords with like an Amazon Echo.
It's probably like something that like a brain mesh that like connects him to the Amazon customer database. He knows what everyone's buying at any given moment. So he can like analyze trends and stuff like that. And also, of course, the direct connection to Alexa.
Be a really weird superpower to have. I'm sure Marvel and Disney will pick it up eventually. All right, so I don't know. This suspiciously comes right after Senator Bernie Sanders proposed his Bezos Act. Bezos Act, which basically says that Amazon workers are relying too much on government subsidies to survive. And the act basically gives profitable employers like Amazon a choice of either paying their workers a fair wage, or they can pay for the public assistance programs that their low-wage employees are forced to depend upon because they don't pay them enough. So right after that, very shortly after that, Amazon does this whole $15 an hour. And also there was another article maybe a week or two ago about Jeff Bezos dumping in like $1 billion or something like that, $2 billion into homeless. Not into like not in a literal sense, but rather to like it was like for homeless something for homeless people.
Just dumped $1 billion onto homeless people.
I wonder what that would do. Like, do you think they'd just be like so stunned that they wouldn't even pick it up?
I'm not familiar with the story that you're referencing, so I'm kind of intrigued at what.
Yeah, he used $2 billion of I think his own money. I'm not sure. I think he's having a real he's going through some crazy guilt trip right now after the Bernie Sanders thing.
Okay.
I think he's having some serious guilt on his shoulders. I mean, which is not surprising. He's been deemed the richest human being in all of human history.
Did he pass
The absolute yeah, I think he passed
Bill Gates?
Bill Gates by far. Yeah.
Okay.
He's worth more than Bill Gates and like Elon Musk and who's the other one? Maybe Zuckerberg combined or some ridiculous.
The Monopoly guy?
Monopoly guy.
He's got lots of money.
The giraffe from Toys R Us. All of his Jeffrey bucks. I mean, this guy Jeff versus Jeff Raff. I don't know what I'm trying to say. This guy is having a panic attack and probably thinking that the whole world hates him for being the richest dude alive. So some good things are happening because of this. Every employee is going to be making at least $15 an hour or more. That's what it at least means. So this could affect the Q4 quarterly results. We don't know. And it seems that Amazon so far has been greeted with a lot of positive feedback from this move. People are praising Amazon at the moment for all the progressive decisions that they're making recently.
I felt positively about this when I heard about it this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't forgive Amazon for a lot of the other stuff that they've done, so it's not like it's off the hook. But it's good that they did it before the holiday season. They could have waited until after.
True.
They're currently hiring on for the busy season, for seasonal workers and stuff like that. And I believe this does extend to temp workers and stuff as well. From what I read.
Yeah.
So that's all good for people who might be struggling to get by. For anyone who's like international or not familiar with how minimum wage works in the U.S., it's usually regional. So depending on the state, so some people this might affect more than others depending on what the current state minimum wage might be. But I was reading some responses from people who were like, "Oh, I'm currently making 12 or something, and this bumps me up to 15." And that's a decent jump for a lot of people.
Definitely.
Especially if you're struggling to get by or, raising a family or something.
And hopefully this would follow the whole theory that the more people get paid, the better a job that they do. Or they feel like they're happier with their job, and so they put a little bit more effort into it. That doesn't always apply. But maybe in a broader sense, we could see some good morale, a good morale boost within the company, which is always good. That trickles down to the customers at the end of the day. So let's move on to a not so happy story about another tech giant, Facebook.
Facebook
Getting hacked like a mofo, like a bitch. Facebook was hacked recently. 50 million user accounts were compromised.
50 million.
Perhaps more. This has been the biggest breach the social media giant has ever experienced in their history of existence.
Damn.
3 bugs were allegedly used in the breach. The attackers stole user access tokens, which basically tell the site, verifies your identity and tells the site what that user has access to, what information. That includes like DMs, like private messages, all that shit. Can be had with an access token. This also affects any site that uses Facebook login. So Instagram, a bunch of news sites, Imgur. I don't know if Imgur uses Facebook login, but there's a ton of sites that use Facebook login as an option, and those are all affected.
Don't use your Google account to log into stuff. Don't use your
create
Facebook
a dedicated
account to log into stuff.
Yeah.
Make a separate password or use a password manager or use your browser's password manager.
Yes, and the reason is because these huge tech companies, Google, Facebook, etc., they do tend to have better security on average than like a million little sites do. But the trade-off there is that when those sites get breached, millions of users are affected.
It's a mass effect.
It's a mass effect. Good reference. It's a shit show. It's a total shit show. So that's the trade-off there. And if you guys are curious at all as to how the hackers may have pulled this off, just a very high-level idea here. There was some specialist in the article that was like, I know things, and this is probably how they did it. So essentially, to get those access tokens, the hackers were exploiting the site's View As feature. I've never used this, but the View As feature basically allows you to view your profile through the eyes of a different user. So if you wanted to, so for example, if you blocked your dad, the example that they gave is if you blocked your dad on Facebook from seeing your photos, you just said, you know, because you can do those permissions, dad cannot see my photos, you check photos, you can do the view as feature to see what your profile would look like from your dad's perspective. So the hackers apparently exploited that feature on Facebook to see what, to basically view and change, alter anything on someone's profile. So for example, if a user via view as impersonated a friend of theirs who themselves had another friend who had a birthday, the feature would also show a box prompting them to post like a happy birthday video. And then that video apparently would both generate and send the attacker a user token or an access token for that particular user. And then from there, they'd be able to use that access token to access and modify and just basically, basically just you would have access to all their data. And if they can create an algorithm that just does that same behavior on a massive scale, you could see how they could easily compromise 50 million accounts within very little time. So it's a little bit scary to think that a website as big as Facebook with so many users can be hacked. I don't want to say hacked so easily, but that it can definitely be hacked. Experts are saying that this required a lot of technical skill to pull off, but hackers usually work in groups, and so when you're pulling that many minds together on a single thing, on cracking a single barrier, there's a much higher chance of them getting through. And so no one is truly safe at the end of the day. We're all susceptible to these breaches.
So I think your instructions are pretty clear for the most part, but am I able to apply this view as picture selection to any of my friends?
Yes. To any of your friends.
Okay.
To anyone who follows you.
You can just view as.
View as.
And it's just right there.
Yep. View as AS, not two S's. That would be a definite breach of privacy and a serious concern that Facebook probably doesn't want to concern themselves with.
Well, I was thinking about getting back
state.
onto Facebook, but I guess never mind.
No, you want to check out Assbook for that. You're on the wrong side of the internet.
That's the thing?
Assbook.com. Trust me. But enough about that. Let's move on to maybe another. I'm just going to go through an emotional roller coaster right now, guys, and take you on it because this next article is pretty cool.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, bitches. Asus ROG doubling down on DRAM.
Double DRAM.
To support double capacity DIMMs
Double
on
DRAM.
next gen. It's triple DRAM now.
Double capacity DIMMs.
I'm rocking some DDR4 modules. DDR3 4. So this is from Overclock 3D. Apparently for their next gen motherboards, I would assume Z390 for example, Asus ROG, their ROG division is planning to support double capacity technology.
The picture they're showing says LGA 1151, so yeah, Z390.
Yep, there you go. So this is sort of an idea, it's just a render, but it's gonna gives you sort of an idea of what this double capacity DIMM will look like.
It's so fast it like makes your traces to
light
your
up.
CPU like glow molten hot lava.
I mean that's where we're headed, Paul, is RGB trace layouts.
That's pretty sweet.
So you can see that the DIMM here.
RGB trace. Can you imagine that?
Oh my God, that
the
would
engineer who they go to with that, like, all right, here's what I want you to do. And then those traces that have like minuscule amount of voltage.
But tell me that wouldn't sell
for
so
signaling,
hard
like,
if every trace layout
make those
on
all
your board.
RGB. Okay.
15,000 people quit at Asus Incorporated today. Asus Tech has lost half their workforce. So this is cool. 32 gig modules, basically by elongating the modules themselves, making these sticks twice as tall so that you can fit
Like
an extra
how
layer.
will we fit more memory though?
Make it bigger.
Taller.
Yes, you can see like all the DRAM chips on there, right? There's so many
look
more.
how wide the DIMM socket is. There's no way we can fit more in there. It's a maximum width.
And you know, one guy smoking a joint. What if we go up?
It's like mind blown. Oh God. The dogs are.
You get a promotion, sir. Yeah, that's basically all it is. It's sort of a new form factor, but kind of not in a way. I feel like it's going to still slot into a regular DIMM slot, but perhaps the trace layouts will have to be different, as Asus was saying through this article, is that they're going to be manufacturing custom boards that have unique trace layouts to accommodate and support this new technology. We still have to wait and see if other vendors are going to follow suit. We haven't heard any word from Corsair or G-Skill and so forth to see if they're going to hop on board this bandwagon. But I would imagine that some of them have to.
Is this the only? Is ZADAC?
ZADAC is one of the first. They're one of the first manufacturers to have developed double capacity DIMMs. So Asus wouldn't be the first to the market with this technology. This has already been done. I should have started off with that. But Asus is definitely, sort of the bigger brand within the PC DIY gaming market. So, this isn't going to really appeal to many people. Only the most hardcore of workstation users, professionals and stuff who need to leverage 64 gigs plus of DDR for memory. But there you have it. There you have it. We'll see if other board manufacturers offer this as well. What we've typically seen is Asus is definitely a huge innovator in the game, and they'll come to market with a new technology or some sort of new standard, and then slowly other manufacturers will kind of follow suit and stuff. We've seen that time and time again. This could be another one of those. We'll see. And then finally, last article here in the news segment, we have a battle. We have a showdown of sorts. It's the Battle of the Bridges.
What up, Bridges?
Battle of the NVLink bridges, Paul.
Okay,
because this is also from Overclock 3D.
We're asking people this question first, the straw poll?
Yes, the straw poll, which we're going to drop into chat right now.
Nobody vote yet. You haven't seen these.
Yeah.
And so there's this one.
Maybe don't give it to them now.
And then there's that one, and then there's this one.
All right, we'll take a look.
Between those three, you guys get to vote which NVLink bridge is the best.
Correct.
And of course, you didn't give them the option for the OG NVIDIA, like the standard NVIDIA one.
Should I?
I don't know. Well,
that one's not RGB, though. No one's going to pick that.
All right, I didn't know they're all...
It's Battle of the add-in board partner RGB NVLink bridges.
Okay.
Which is a little long-winded.
All right. That makes...
But I'm sticking to it. All right. So... Our three options are the Asus ROG bridge.
There it is.
There it is. It's very blocky.
Some brush metal.
You can see it's got the eye
angles,
and it's.
I want to point this out because they actually showed. I actually have seen this bridge in person, although they wouldn't let me steal it from them. They put brush metal and an ROG logo on the back of the bridge. Like you will never see this.
Why on the back?
It's just that it's attention to detail. It's the completed finished product.
I guess the back makes sense for like articles like this.
Yeah, I guess.
When you're taking a picture of the back of it.
There's the box. They all using this RTX. Anyway, next we have the Gigabyte. Aorus. Looks like they got a 3-slot and a 4-slot version.
Now, I think the Aorus looks good, but
yeah, I mean,
it's a little simple. It's very simple.
It's not that simple. I mean, there's this texture part. It's different. The 3-slot and the 4-slot version, there's this extra textured piece in the 4-slot.
You got the extra room, Might as well throw some sexiness in there. So something just disconnect from your computer?
Oh, rip camera. Hold on.
What? How?
It's alright, I can fix it.
Were you not plugged in to power? They can still hear us though, right?
Yeah, they should be able to still hear us. Everything's fine. Refresh. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Weird. That's never happened before.
There's something with the rip saw. I don't know. Every once in a while, it just.
I get it. The rip saw.
Just ripped. Yeah. Rip saw. Okay.
All right.
Sorry about that, guys.
I think we're back on track now.
We are.
So the Aorus bridge looks pretty good. It's hard to see where the RGB elements are. I would think within the Aorus lettering, and then the sort of
yeah, it's not lit up.
There's
in the
definitely
picture.
more. It looks like there's more RGB on the right than the left because the right side has a little on the left. See it? There's got the little slots,
here,
little slits on the top left.
That?
Yeah, that's not there on the 3-slot bridge.
Does that light up? I don't think that lights up.
Really?
I think that's just shiny plastic.
It looks like
I think
it
if
looks
I
like a
think if-
semi-opaque,
I think if it-
type of plastic.
No, it's not.
Really?
It's, yeah,
Okay.
I think what's going to light up is your edge of the Aorus logo, and then the Aorus logo in the middle.
I could be totally wrong, but that one doesn't have it. The 3 slot doesn't have that little accent. So yeah, there are definitely some physical changes.
It's jarring. It's jarring. The
Very
difference
jarring. Very jarring.
EVGA going with sort of a. I don't know how to describe it.
Okay, does EVGA have some sort of fascination with bees? Because I always get like sort of a
Is
beehive,
that what you're feeling?
a beehive vibe
Yeah.
from them. Do you remember the 10 series cards? How they were very honeycomb in design.
Yeah. Okay.
And now I'm getting sort of again like an insect pod. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me.
I mean, I
I'm
can't
getting sort
like
of a
I don't
lotus
know the
pod
curve.
type of vibe.
It's slightly like it's still got
alien.
it's still got angles and stuff, but
looks
it's a
very
little it's a
alien.
little bit more rounded at the edges.
I'm not saying I don't like it.
With the
I'm
inset
just saying
here
it's
and everything.
a very specific, very stylized
Yeah.
look, and I think in the right build it would look great.
I like
not gonna be
that. I
good
like
for
that
every
they've
build.
included a couple pictures showing what lights up in the different colors. So that's nice.
I think it definitely has the most surface area of illuminated surface area
Yes.
out of the 3 bridges that we've seen.
That is true.
So if you're just a bling whore, then this is the bridge for you.
All
So
right,
I don't
once
know.
Again, EVGA,
EVGA, Aorus,
Aorus, and
Asus.
Asus. Those are our options.
Yep.
We haven't given you guys too much time to respond, but we're still going to look at the results.
Let's take a look. Asus in the lead
Asus is winning
by quite a
with
large
52%.
margin.
Have to wonder if that's because that's who we talked about first, and people were just immediately struck by it, or
I
if
don't know.
people just like him better.
No, I honestly like the Asus one out of the bunch the most as well.
Votes still coming in. Kyle, is this linked in your video description?
No.
Never mind. All right.
We're not gonna revisit it, so it's just a
This
one
is all-
time
this is-
live. This is live, baby.
So thanks to
You gotta be
the
here.
250-ish or
had to
so
be
of
there.
you who voted.
Yep. Thank you guys.
And Asus, good job on your winning design.
Yep. And good job on the runner-ups.
All right. Before we move on to the second segment,
We have a sponsor.
we have a
spot.
sponsor for today's show. That is Toshiba. Yes, indeed, Toshiba.
Woo, Toshiba.
And basically, Toshiba wanted us to show you guys these SSDs that they have.
Ooh.
They're in a few different varieties, and I believe all of these are using their BICS flash memory,
Yep.
which
Thanks.
which is more affordable. So you can get
True.
very reasonably priced SSDs that are still quite fast and everything. So we have the Toshiba XS700 here in the middle, which is an external. It's basically like a 2.5-inch style SSD. It's got USB Type-C on it. I believe it's also USB 3.1 Gen 2. So that's cool. But yeah, we're going to unbox one of these right now.
It's pretty standard.
We can only choose one.
Pretty standard SATA Rev 3 speeds.
Yeah.
Looks like. So is this external or not?
That's external.
Okay.
Yeah.
USB 3. Okay, got it.
That's external.
Cool.
So
Handy.
yeah,
These are really handy.
They have the
I love
TR200, which often has really good prices. I've recommended this for
Yeah.
quite a few different system builds because it's just a solid, standard SATA SSD.
Yeah.
This is a 240 gig, but I believe it's also available in 512, and I think it might go up above that as well. We're gonna quickly unbox this little one though because I think
Yes.
that's the most fun.
Yeah, it's the M.2 OCZ RC100. I've actually never used this one before. No, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, just a little sticker.
I mean, I could
Nope, I got it, Paul.
I could get a knife.
Shut up. Independent.
Like knives.
Motherfucker. Oh, look at how cute.
Yeah, the cool thing about this one is
Look how
it's
cute it
super
is.
tiny.
Wow.
It's very small.
Dang, man. So this is actually, what's the length on this guy?
It's the 2242.
2242, so 42
Yeah.
millimeters long. Definitely a lot shorter than most standard M.2 drives we've seen. I love this. This is going to be great in like a mini ITX build. I mean,
Yeah.
any M.2 drive is pretty good for keeping things nice and compact.
It's a PCIe Gen 3 by 2 connection, NVMe standard, so it is the newer standard, and you are going to get a little bit of extra performance out of that when it comes to stuff like boot times and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, RC100 available at fine retailers online and otherwise. So check out these fine products from Toshiba, and a big thank you to Toshiba for sponsoring awesome hardware.
It's so small that it could just magically disappear into my pocket and follow me home.
Well, we do need to bring them to your place next week, so we might just do that.
There you go.
All right.
All right, thanks, Toshiba.
Yay,
All right, let's move on from sponsor spot to Pimp My PC. We're doing the Mini ITX edition, yo. Mini ITX dish.
We need to add the sponsor link to the video's description.
Oh, yes. Should we do that now?
Coming soon.
Coming soon, yes.
You can.
Oh, you already did yours?
No.
Oh.
But we haven't started my half yet.
All right. So let's do the Mini ITX Pimp My PC. We're going small form factor today because we got to show the SFF crew some love. We usually, ATX and EATX usually hogs the show, so I figured it was time that we do a round of some smaller builds. So this first one's from Dr. Luke, PhD.
Also mini and micro. They're all mini?
What? They're all mini.
All mini. Never mind.
All mini. He said he gave us a PC part picker list, so it looks like he's got a Core i5 8400 in here with a CryoRig C7, great little low-profile cooler, an ASRock B360M Mini ITX, of course, AC Mini ITX motherboard, G-Skill Ripjaws 5, 16 gigs, 2x8 gig sticks, a 250 gig 850 Evo, and it looks like we've got a GTX 1060 6GB card, superclocked from EVGA. Inside of the Cooler Master Elite 130 Mini ITX tower case. And let's take a look at this system here. I really like this case. I've never built in it personally, but it's always been sort of in the back of my mind as a consideration for a small cube case. This thing is basically just a frame. It's like a shoebox size case that just has some mounting points on it for a motherboard, a power supply, and it's really, really compact. But you've chosen parts wisely in here, it seems, to make it look pretty cavernous. Like,
well, because everything's very, very bunched up. So like his motherboard, he's even got an additional cooling fan pumping in some air from the side, which I appreciate there.
Yeah.
And then the power supply is just right on top of it, and all the cables are, there's not a lot of place to put them that's hidden here, but they're all tied up pretty well.
Yeah.
So with those out of the way, there's a lot of empty space right up here in the front.
Which is great. I mean, it's rare that you have a case this small and have that much empty space, where you've got like 50% just room for activities, or air, aka airflow.
He asked us what he should do with it. Like, I'm not exactly sure what you could throw in there, apart from, like, you got an 8400, so you're not overclocking.
Right.
I would say, like, if you had an overclockable CPU, maybe an all-in-one or something that you could run the tubes over there.
He's got a B360 motherboard too. So.
Yeah, so you're not overclocking. So I mean,
you wouldn't want it.
Storage basically is what you have as a possible expansion there. You can add more. You could maybe makeshift a 3.5-inch cage to add some more hard drives, or maybe do a little SSD array in there for some super fast storage or something.
I wonder, can you? I forget if you can mount a 120 rad at the front of the case where that fan is. Because if you could definitely swap out the motherboard and CPU for something overclockable, and keep it cool.
Yeah, that would fill it out a little bit more. But
if not, either way, I mean, you could still upgrade your graphics card.
Yeah. That would take up a little bit more space.
Take a little more space, which you have. You've allotted yourself more space for something like that. Honestly, if from an aesthetic point of view, though, all you could really do here is maybe get custom cables that are cut to length. Cables that are just perfect length. You have to measure it out and get them professionally done, or do it yourself. God help you. And I think that would make it look really nice, super clean. But again, it's something that you would only, you yourself would just take pride in it, because no one else would really be able to see it in this case. There's no real window.
Yeah,
unless you wanted to make your own window. I mean, knock yourself out if you're open to that sort of thing. But yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, very well done.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr.
Let's move on to Rauhi.
Rauhi.
I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's a little bit late. Core i3 8100. Once again, we have a 8000 series processor from Intel with a Be Quiet Shadowrock Slim. It's a great cooler. 8 gigs HyperX Fury DDR4 2666. MSI GTX 1060. We have, once again, a GTX 1060. However, this one's a 3 gigabyte card. We have a 250 gig Samsung Evo 960, or 960 Evo, and a Gigabyte Z370N. So you've got a Z370 motherboard in there, but not an overclockable CPU. 400 watt Be Quiet Straight Power 10, And this is all inside of the Nano S from Fractal Design, one of my favorite mini ITX cases for its time. So this is a very clean build.
Yeah, cable management is like
very
wow,
clean.
very well done. I have not seen this before. Taking the PEG connector from the graphics card,
Yeah.
passing it through the two front intake fans.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I haven't seen it before. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it was
Yeah.
longer and you could hide it from the reservoir wall.
Going across here in the back.
Yeah, or maybe like position it so that it's right behind the graphics card. So if you're looking at it dead on, it's kind of hard to see.
Like bring it down there and then across.
Right. I'm not sure if that would work, but it's a very clever way to
given what
route
you
it.
have, I mean, it's going pretty straight across there, so that's not too bad.
Very clever. And yeah, cable management is just super on point. And you've
Why
got
does it look different here?
maybe it's an older picture.
Right?
He's probably messed with it.
Here it goes down.
Yeah, it's kind of more traditional.
Here it goes across in between.
I think on the bottom one, it looks like he went down, and maybe he routed it underneath the front fan because it looks like it's still
Down and around and...
coming from there. Either way, it looks great.
Okay.
I actually like that way a little bit better. Once the side panel's on and stuff. And then, I mean, custom cables really, because everything's so clean already that I think a custom set of sleeved cables would do you some good.
Yeah. So definitely it's not as visible with the side panel because it's being blasted out by the LEDs, but I think removing your power supply sticker, it's a lot of just small text on there that probably isn't looking the greatest.
And I'm very much a fan of like balancing colors, so if you just have like one red element in your case, like your graphics card, I usually like to add some red elsewhere in the system just to sort of tie everything together so it doesn't stand out so much, but more so looks intentional. So maybe, I don't know. I'm sure, I mean, the HyperX kit that you have in there is perfectly fine for your memory, but if you wanted to get some red ones, they also have them in red with red heat spreaders.
It'd be kind of cool if one of them was red and one was black.
That would look good. That would totally look good. Maybe a black and red fan for your cooler. Black and red fans for your existing case fans if you want to do some spray paint action. But that's all just personal taste. It's very subjective. It's all aesthetic. And overall, this is a really clean system.
I agree.
I don't know why I picked it. It's perfect.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Rauhi. Next up we have Meeling.
Meeling.
Sorry.
Meeling.
That's the only way that you can pronounce that name. Meeling T, to be exact. ASRock Fatality AB350, a Ryzen 5 2400G, 128 gig M.2 SSD, 1 terabyte mechanical, Ragen Tech Metis Plus, I don't know how to pronounce that, Metis Plus.
I think it's Metis.
Metis Plus, with a Corsair CXM 550 watt 80 plus bronze, and XPG Spectrix, I believe that's the memory.
Nice photos.
And 16 gigs DDR4. Gigabyte GTX 1060s. GTX 1060s must be that's the card that you go with if you have a mini, super small form factor mini ATX
Oh yeah,
system.
when they can make them this small.
Yeah, definitely.
Gives you
you can make a 1070. The Gigabyte makes a 1070 with that exact same cooler on it too.
And it also costs
1070s
150
a lot more, of
bucks
course.
more.
Super fast though. So this is actually a really nice system.
I wanted to say real quick, there was a mailing. I used to work on the Egg Expert when Egg Expert was the forums on Newegg, and there was a mailing who was a very frequent contributor there. I wonder if this is the same mailing.
Huh?
But
maybe.
Anyway,
it's Chinese name, so it's China.
Yeah. So very nice pictures.
Probably only 5 billion people who have that name. So
Very compact build. This is probably the least flattering picture, but it also shows us a lot of what's going on inside there because there's a lot of cables and there's not a lot of space or room to work with here.
True.
So this reverse shot looks so clean. I don't know why this shot looks so...
It does. Yeah. It's like, wow, what did you do with all your cables?
Yeah, and with the side panel off there, so...
It's also interesting to see that this case orients the GPU on the top.
Yeah.
Where it's like horizontal. Because I was trying to figure out how it was all oriented from the GPU picture that you had.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? That doesn't make sense. But yeah, I see now how this case works.
It's pretty cool.
I think that again with a really small form factor build like this, custom sleeve cables that are cut to size go a long way. And as far as like, you know, you actually have a case here, a mini ITX case that's this small that has a window. It's pretty rare. Not many cases this size do. So it kind of matters a little bit more, I guess, if you care about that sort of thing. This is Pimp My PC after all. What the inside looks like, at least on the CPU side of things, which is great. You've got some RGB here. You've got, you know, your AMD Wraith Spire, perhaps. I think that might be a Spire cooler, or yeah, along with that RGB memory, and it looks really nice. The cable management, again, with custom sleeve cables, that would be fixed up. It looks a little bit like you can tell there's like a lot of excess cabling here that doesn't really have anywhere to go. That the case is smaller than, like, the cables don't need to be as long as they are for a case this size.
But I will say that with everything, with the side panel on, the cables are all drawn away to a point where you can't really see them.
True.
You can mainly see the good part. So
True.
So that's well done.
Good point. And I don't know. Everything else looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe use. Oh yeah. I don't know. I see some like just regular plasticky or just the regular twist ties.
Swap for zip ties. We need some high quality zip ties swapped in for those.
You mean tweezers?
Tweezers.
They're called tweezers, Paul. Anyone who's watched The Verge's PC build video knows that those are called tweezers.
I stand corrected.
Yes, you do. All right, but everything else looks really solid. Loving that video card. Thank you very much, Mr. Meeling, or Mrs. or Miss Meeling, or none of the above. Who knows?
Probably miss.
Probably miss.
Miss or Mrs.
Miss or Mrs. Okay, moving on to Martin.
Martin.
I'm going to call you Martin.
Paolone.
Martin
Paolone.
has a Core i7-7700K, overclocked to 4.6 gigahertz. Finally, now we're getting somewhere. Now we have a really fast, high IPC, quad-core, hyper-threaded Core i7 chip in a mini ITX build that is overclocked. Gigabyte Z170N, perfect. Two 16-gig sticks of Corsair Vengeance LPX. Wow, you've got 32 gigs of RAM in here. Nice. With a GTX 1080, so this is a very high-end build. This is a monster. This is a little beast, so to speak, with a Noctua NH-U9S with two Noctua NF8A8 fans. Thermaltake 200mm fan in the front, inside of the Thermaltake Core V1. Very popular mini ITX case, the Thermaltake Core V1. MX300 1TB SSD, of course, and a 4TB hard drive in there. Woo! Power supply is a Supernova 750. Killing it with the specs, bro. The specs are off the chain. And your cable work and stuff looks pretty good.
What was the motherboard again?
Motherboard was I think it was MSI. Gigabyte GA-Z170N Gaming 5.
I will personally say that I know the angle at which you had to install your graphics card.
Angle?
the graphics card, if you look, especially like this, the side angle shot of it is probably a really good example of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's longer than the case itself.
Sure.
You cannot just drop it in straight down. You have to kind of angle one end of it in and get it down in there, and then get the other one, and then let it settle. And like you have this moment of panic where you're like, is this gonna fit? Is this gonna fit? Like,
pivot.
Am I gonna have to shave a corner of it off or something like that? But yeah,
totally.
All right, so
he managed to make it fit. That's what she said.
All right, somehow turn all of your Noctua fans all black.
Yeah. Black and red.
Magically do that.
Problem solved. Replace them with the Noctua Chromax fans.
I'm not sure.
With the black fans,
Chromax fans are not available in all different sizes and shapes, and these are...
What sizes are
these?
These
are 80 or 92. I think they're 92 millimeter.
Is the one on the CPU a 90?
I'm not positive. I have to look up the
specific. I think you're right. It's definitely smaller than a 120.
Yeah, they're not 120s, though.
Yeah. Yeah, then
that's why I say use magic. Use magic to turn these all black.
Yeah, just magic. Yeah, thank you for getting the pivot reference. Chat, so...
We have a lot of extra cables down in the basement. I mean, I'm only pointing this out because, like, it stands out in the picture from the side. I don't know what you can do with it. It's a power supply that has a lot of cables.
Yeah. sleeves, custom sleeves,
Yeah.
more custom sleeves, and yeah, change those like Paul said, do magic.
Oh, so who said that in chat? Graves Swan in chat said there might be Redux versions of these fans that you could swap out.
There you go.
That might have equivalent performance that are kind of that gray. They're kind of a gray.
Kind of gray, yeah. I've used those before in the silver build. Those are nice.
Again, not positive, but that might be an option.
I know they have 80 millimeter for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, overall, like I think you've done for the amount of hardware you have in here. Like there's other than some custom cables that are like cut to length for the short runs that you have to make. I think you've done everything you can.
Yeah, this thing's a badass.
That's a beastly system in that little $40 case.
Yeah.
40 is like 40, 45 bucks for that one, I think.
Exactly.
Okay.
I love those little fans.
One more, Mr. Lenticular.
MB67. Thank you very much with the Ryzen 7 1700 and Noctua NH-L9 CPU cooler, an Asus ROG Strix B350 ITX motherboard, 16 gigs of G.Skill Trident Z 3200 speed, Samsung 860 EVO 1TB SSD, a Corsair SF600, and a Galaxy GTX 1070 Katana, all inside of the DanCase A4 SFX V2. I have seen this system before. MB has shared it with me in the past, and I thought it was absolutely gorge. So I guess you could consider this sort of a semi-submission, half honorable mention. I really love how this system is set up. I think it's really clean. Your cable management looks 1,000 times cleaner than mine. The work that I did in my recent DanCase build. I don't know how you did it. It just looks super clean, and you're using stock cables and everything. It just looks insanely good. I love the memory and the CPU fan. That cooler is probably one of the most popular to use for this case because the Z clearance on the CPU coolers here for this chassis is so limited.
Yeah.
Which is also why you went with a Ryzen 7 1700, which is a 65 watt TDP chip. I think that was a really smart move. So I'm sure your thermals are fine. Also, the GPU I think is a great choice. You went with a blower style cooler.
It's the Katana.
It's a blower style cooler, but it's not just like a Founders Edition. It's not just like a really nasty, like, I don't know. Like, so there's some lousy turbo cooler cards out there. This one looks badass, though.
Is the Katana single slot or 1.5 slot? I feel like it's narrower than most.
You might be right.
Alex
You could be right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
see, Steve has hardware unbox. Steve has a video on it.
is that it?
Yeah, it's definitely thin. Maybe even single slot.
Is it single slot? Wow. I mean, that's pretty badass.
Sweet. Okay.
Cool.
Great choices all around. Beautiful build.
Yeah, I mean, I really there's not much that could be done to boost the appearance of this rig other than, custom sleeve cables and maybe getting a more color neutral fan. I mean, I know that slim Noctua fan, that 92mm fan is really good for what it is. So
I swapped my Noctua NHL9 fan for the 92mm Redux version that they have, which has pretty much equivalent performance, maybe even slightly better than this one.
It's slim as well.
It's not slim though; it's thicker, so you would lose some of that Z height, and I'm not sure it would fit in here.
Probably not. Anything much thicker than this at all is like no go. It's like this or the C7 cryo rig. Those are like the two high performing or like sort of critically acclaimed air coolers that will fit. Anything beyond that, like even add 5-10 millimeters, like no chance. It's a very, very limited case in that sense. But there is the Asus 92mm AIO that you could drop in there if you wanted to do some modifications.
I think it's great. Well done.
It is very good. Thank you very much, MB. And that will conclude Pimp My PC for today.
Yay.
As well as my segment, for that matter. So thank you, guys, for watching. Don't go anywhere, though, because Paul's half is just around the corner. And you should stay tuned for that. It may be...
My half's going to be a little short, but also for the after party for today, we're going to be streaming that to YouTube as well as Twitch. So
yeah,
stay tuned. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.
Feel free to do timestamps as well.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
be right back.